Welcome back to Forex Professional Training in Financial Markets. In this session, economic calendar, in addition to its key news in fundamental analysis, will be studied. Interest rate. Interest rate news is the most significant announcement in financial markets. Interest rate changes rarely. However, information provided on press conferences determines the direction and trend of that currency. Changing interest rate is discussed in press conferences whether interest rate will remain untouched in the future or it will be reformed. Increment news of interest rates have advantageous effects on financial markets, while any decline of interest rate results in decrement in a financial market. Economic outlook is another subject discussed in that press conference, which determines recent financial and economic conditions, as well as economic policies and objectives. For instance, if a spokesman declares that the economy has a sound condition, also the prospects of economic objectives are definite. The consequences of this announcement have a considerable advantageous effect on the financial market. Inflation and deflation data is represented in this conference too. Inflation renders economic growth, while deflation causes recession. Quantitative easing, known as QE in the US, is a monetary policy that the central bank utilizes to ameliorate the ailing economy. It is called an asset purchase facility, APF, in Great Britain. Any alteration in this policy would have a considerable effect on the financial market. There are three phases in which news should be analysed: previous, prediction, and announcement. For instance, if a previous APF in England has been £200 billion and prediction before the press conference has determined £200 billion, then in the press conference it was declared that APF for the next year will be £200 billion. Thus, APF news did not have any influence on the financial market. If it was announced in press conference that the APF is set on £180 billion, then it shows the economy condition has improved considerably. On the other hand, if APF is set to £220 billion, then it can be inferred that the economy condition has weakened. The Central Bank of the US is known as FOMC. The Central Bank of Great Britain is known as BOG. The Central Bank of the European Union is known as the ECB. The Central Bank of Japan is known as the BOJ. The Central Bank of Australia is known as the RBA. And the Central Bank of New Zealand is known as the RBNZ. GDP, Gross Domestic Product. Another important news announcement in press conferences is GDP, Gross Domestic Product, which shows the amount of export. The higher value of GDP indicates a better economy condition. Three different GDP values of the UK are declared: prelim, final, and revised. Press conferences of the European Union specify two types, prelim and final, while in the US there are three forms, final, prelim, and advance. In the European Union and Great Britain, prelim and in the US, advance are the most important values. Germany provides 28% of GDP in the European Union, while France, Italy, Spain and Portugal supply less amount of GDP. Higher amount of GDP results in a more powerful currency. Unemployment rate and employment change. Unemployment rate and employment change rate are declared in the press conference. While most people concentrate on the unemployment rate, which is the summation of employment change divided by the number of periods, the employment change has a more profound effect on the market trend. Unemployment rate, like a moving average, has less effect on the market due to its lag. However, Employment change is the latest value of unemployment in this country. PMI, Purchasing Managing Index. PMI is another value to be announced in a press conference that increases when the interest of inflation goes up. Thus, it shows economic conditions enhancement. It indicates the amount of orders, productions, and buy shares by managers. If this value is over 50, the economy is in a good condition, while a rate lower than 50 shows the economy has weakened. PMI has two types. In the US, manufacturing and non-manufacturing. In other countries, services and manufacturing. Obviously, manufacturing shows the PMI value in manufacturing and production fields, while PMI of manufacturing has more effect on the market trend rather than non-manufacturing or services value. Retail sell. Retail sell is another value specified in press conferences that shows customer buying power provided by those companies that represent goods to the end user. PPI, Producer Price Index. PPI, or Producer Price Index, announced in press conferences, shows the production rate. Higher value of PPI specifies better economy condition. PPI is the expense of manufacturing and production of goods. CPI, Customer Price Index. Customer Price Index, or CPI, will also be declared in press conferences. This value shows changes in the major expenses of a family. Higher value indicates higher inflation, consequently economy growth and higher income. Under a rare occasion in which a disaster such as a war or earthquake happens, major requirements like food and energy are omitted from this value, which is called core CPI, due to an increment in the market price of these materials. Traders can access an extensive collection of information on forexfactory.com. Interest rates and GDP determine the direction and trend of the currency, while other rates cause daily, weekly, or monthly fluctuations. That concludes this session. Until next time, and another session, take care.